He promised to make America great again. He rallied against the establishment. He spoke directly to the frustrations of many Americans. Donald Trump, to some, became more than a president. He became a savior, a beacon of hope in a world they felt had left them behind. But is this image of Trump as a savior reality, or is it a carefully constructed facade? Is it possible that the very forces he claims to fight against are the ones pulling his strings? The allure of a savior is powerful. It offers simple solutions to complex problems. It promises a return to a perceived golden age. But history teaches us that saviors are often mythical figures, existing more in the realm of fantasy than reality. Their promises, while seductive, rarely stand up to scrutiny. So as we examine Trump's actions and his place in the grand scheme of things, we must ask ourselves, are we witnessing genuine leadership or a well-scripted performance? To understand Trump, we must look beyond the man himself and examine the forces that shape his world. Who benefits from his presidency? Whose interests are being served? The answers, as always, lie in the corridors of power, where money and influence intertwine to dictate the course of nations. Corporate interests, with their insatiable hunger for profit, exert tremendous influence over American politics. The military-industrial complex, a behemoth with a vested interest in perpetual war, holds politicians hostage to its agenda. And let's not forget the media, a powerful tool for shaping public perception and controlling the narrative. These are the puppet masters, the unseen hands that guide the actions of even the most powerful individuals. And Donald Trump, despite his rhetoric, is no exception. The political theatre often presents us with a binary choice, left or right, Democrat or Republican. But what if this dichotomy is an illusion, designed to distract us from the reality that both sides ultimately serve the same masters? Consider the similarities between Trump and his successor, Joe Biden. Both have close ties to Wall Street. Both have advanced policies that benefit the wealthy at the expense of the working class. And both have shown a willingness to use American military might to further corporate interests abroad. The differences between them, while often presented as stark, pale in comparison to their shared allegiance to the status quo. They are two sides of the same coin, each playing their part in maintaining a system that prioritizes power and profit over people. Section 4. Foreign Policy Inconsistencies, a Savior's Actions. If Donald Trump is indeed a savior, as his supporters claim, then his actions on the world stage should reflect this. But a closer look at his foreign policy, particularly in the Middle East, reveals a troubling disconnect between rhetoric and reality. Let's start with his stance on Israel and Palestine. Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, a move widely condemned by the international community, inflamed tensions in the region and further marginalized the Palestinian people. His administration's unwavering support for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, a man who has repeatedly shown contempt for international law and human rights, speaks volumes about Trump's true allegiances. Then there's Iran. Trump's withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal, a landmark agreement that had successfully curbed Iran's nuclear ambitions, was a reckless act of sabotage that has pushed the region closer to war. His administration's maximum pressure campaign, consisting of crippling economic sanctions and military threats, has only served to strengthen the hand of hardliners in Iran and undermine those who advocate for diplomacy and engagement. These are not the actions of a savior. They are the actions of a man beholden to special interests, a man willing to sacrifice peace and stability for political expediency. Section 5. The assassination attempt, orchestrated heroism. In the aftermath of the January 6th Capitol riot, an event that shook the nation to its core, Donald Trump faced widespread condemnation and calls for his removal from office. His grip on power seemed to be slipping. But then, something remarkable happened. An assassination attempt. A lone gunman, driven by extremist beliefs, attempted to take the life of the former president. The attempt failed, and Trump emerged unscathed. But the incident had a profound impact on public perception. Overnight, Trump went from being a vilified figure to a sympathetic victim. The assassination attempt, whether real or staged, served as a convenient reset button, allowing him to reclaim the mantle of heroism and garner sympathy from those who had turned against him. Section 6. The media's role: manufacturing consent. We live in an age of information overload, bombarded by a constant stream of news, opinions, and propaganda. Navigating this landscape can be overwhelming, leaving many to rely on trusted sources to make sense of the world. But what if these trusted sources are complicit in perpetuating the very systems of power they claim to expose? The mainstream media, often hailed as the fourth estate and a pillar of democracy, plays a crucial role in shaping public perception. But in an era of corporate consolidation and shrinking newsrooms, the media has become increasingly beholden to advertisers and political interests. Consider the coverage of Donald Trump. While some networks have been critical of his policies and behavior, others have served as little more than mouthpieces for his administration, amplifying his message and attacking his opponents. The result is a public divided not just on issues of policy, but on the very nature of truth itself. Section 7. Seeking truth and justice. A call to action. The story of Donald Trump is not just about one man or one presidency. It is a microcosm of a much larger struggle. A struggle between the powerful and the powerless, between truth and deception. It is a struggle that demands our attention, our critical thinking, and our unwavering commitment to justice. We cannot afford to be passive observers in this struggle. We must question everything. We must challenge the narratives that are being fed to us. We must seek out alternative sources of information and engage in respectful dialogue with those who hold different views. The truth, as they say, is out there, but it is up to us to find it. It is up to us to demand accountability from our leaders, to hold the powerful to account, and to create a more just and equitable world for ourselves and future generations.